GKFX Prime presents the Market Analysis Webinar.
Hello everybody, hello, welcome traders. Another week in the markets. My name is Dima, your usual host for this week's and every week's analysis. Gonna have a look at some more charts for this week. Hope you had a good trading week last week. Thank you very much for joining us. So let's have a look at what we've got for this week. Picked out another few markets for you. We've got similar charts to last week, carrying on from last week's analysis, building on letting the market do its thing with more price action and a couple of other new ones. So let's get straight to it and see what we've got for this week, starting with the economic calendar. Let's begin with Monday. We don't have anything major to watch out for, but on Tuesday we definitely do. The biggest one for the week seems to be from the Aussie. We have the rate statement there on Tuesday. On the dollar, we have a speech from the Fed, and on CAD, we also have a speech from the Bank of Canada. So central bank announcements here. These are the biggest ones, the major ones for these economies on Tuesday. Now, Wednesday, we have an FOMC member speech on the dollar there. Thursday, on the pound monetary policy report, that could be a big one, and from Euro, the economic forecast. Friday, GDP numbers on the pound there, and then we've got from Canada unemployment rate, and then a smaller bit of news on the dollar consumer sentiment. Big ones to watch out for are these on Tuesday. We've also got another pound news on Thursday and another pound on Friday. So some major news, possible volatility on the pound. Let's watch for the pound. And then also the rate statement. And then the smaller ones would be this. Let's have a look at what we've got, how we can line it up with the charts for this week. So keeping a note of the economic calendar and the days on which these announcements happen. All right. Let's move on into the charts. Let's see what we've got for this week. Analyze a few charts as usual. And let's see where the market is taking us for this week. Let's begin again with the majors as always. Euro dollar. Now Euro dollar one we've been looking at. This is what I was thinking of last week. And this is an example of when the market tells you when something is invalid. And a good example when you plan and then it just doesn't work out and you have to wait even longer. So here we are on the weekly on the euro, and we can see that we ended the week in a bearish engulfing candle pattern. Very, very clear. Took much of the high of last week, reversed back down, took the low, and then closed very bearish, very weak. So that shows us that perhaps we are about to have a little retracement there. Looking on the 4 hour, this is what we planned for last week. We did break the low first, and then we broke with a high. So both sides. And in this case, we were supposed to have a reversal here. We didn't. We just went straight down and then broke the low. And now this break of this low is indicating that we are now heading down. And I did outline this possible area to watch out for. So I'm now looking for the market to extend to that area, this being a whole retracement. And now it's the market showing us what it wants to do, making its move. So let's delete previous annotations. Now we've broken this low, as you can see. So the next move we're looking at is retracement and then a continuation to the downside, which should give us a nice risk to reward ratio. You can see we've broken this trend line here. If you want to draw a trend like this, either way it's broken, and now we've got a downside idea. So where is that going to be? Well, we've got this level here as a better price, more expensive price, and the invalidation point would be up here. So if the market breaches back up here, then heading higher. So I'm looking for that lower price initially before we get a reversal in this area. Let's just mark it a bit clearer here. And from where we are to there, it's about just over 100 pips. Okay, and you don't need to make use of all that move. Remembering when we're in retracement phase, it may be a little bit slower. So let's watch out and see what happens. You can also draw this area right here. That will be the first area that I would be interested in taking profit, and this is the high probability scenario. So let's see what happens if we do range or get a break above here. Then again, as I say, wouldn't be really interested because the market wouldn't be giving us that high probability opportunity. Okay, that's euro dollar. Let's move on to euro pound. So here's last week. What did we see last week? We saw a bullish, very, very bullish candle back into the uptrend. Looking on the 4-hour, here's what I was looking at. I was looking at these two sides as these two levels of significance. The market went higher, not lower, and that indicates as we broke this level that I marked that we are bullish, not bearish. We had that happen, and now we are continuing to the upside, continuing on that bullishness, and this area that I marked out here is no longer valid for us since the market indicated where it wanted to go and ripped higher to the upside. So let's delete all of these. Now let's look for an entry to carry on into our bias. So here's that week, and what we're expecting is a retracement to the downside and then continuation higher into these levels that I marked out earlier. You can see here's level first one, here's the second one. So I'll be looking to go from this area, this retracement phase, into back into the high here, 100 pips away, and then the next high 190 pips away or so. So we want to see a nice deep retracement. That would be fantastic. That would be absolutely ideal. Let's see if we do get that or not. Nice cheaper price, always want that. Now if that's not the case and we do go higher instead, then obviously want to wait to see back down, pull back to a nice area, and then a continuation to the next level higher. Obviously it wouldn't be such a good price because it will be a more expensive price. We want to see a nice lower price, but it is what it is. The market will always do what the market does. We just have to flow along with it. Delete this one. Okay, so that's the idea here on euro pound, and at the moment we're neither here nor there. Really want to see either a break higher or a cheaper price on euro pound there. So we've got the market indicating to us what it wants to do. As you can see, we've got break of this high, break of this high. We've got market pushing higher, higher highs, higher lows, and got this very bullish close on the pound. Okay, so bullish bias on that. Let's continue with the pound pairs for a little bit. We've got these two both covering the euro. We've got pound, remembering pound news. We also have a little bit of euro news, but the pound is going to be, seems to be the major one for this week. Let's have a look at pound Swiss, another one that I looked at last week, and here is that last week's candle closed very bearish. Just to ignore the markings for a minute, just focus on the candles. We closed bearish, and this is what I was expecting, something around this area, which we did react off of, and now heading down. Looking on the daily for last week, you can see here was that area that I marked, and then we closed very bearish, reacted very, very heavily, confirming the downside. So here we had that break of the structure here and here, which we had very, very clearly. Unfortunately, what I expected, which was the pullback as we drew last week together, that initial pullback into the zone, into this level, did not happen, and the market was so weak that it just continued on its merry way down, breaking new levels, breaking into our targets, 1, 2, and here is that third one, the ultimate low that we were looking to reach, and it was a massive week for pound Swiss, 300 pips move, very move, just unrelenting drop. Unfortunately didn't get that entry, so now we're gonna just wipe that off, write that off, and reassess and look at what we can do now from where we're at. Now that we moved away from here, this becomes a reference point. I no longer need that. And as ever, because I am looking at these ultimate lows to be reached, I am still focused on that. And in fact, here's that extreme low down here. So with that idea of the continued bearishness, is very obvious to see now. We had the big move. Let's see where we can get a better price. Now, there's two places I can see. One is right here. And if we get an extreme, we may come back here, we may not, I do not know. The market will do what the market wants to do. So the way I will approach this is stay flexible. I'm gonna continue to look at this area and watch for a reversal price action. Continue to the downside on this area. That will be the first idea. If you want, you can just right click, go to trading, set an alert. When the price does come into that area, I like to set an alert just a little bit before so that I am aware of what's happening and watch it as it approaches. And then let's see for the price action around this area if we get that reversal. Now, if we don't and we rip through, remembering there is news volatility, we may still see a move higher. I'll be watching at this area, which is obviously more favorable because we have a more expensive area, a much better price, and definitely a much deeper retracement. Yeah, so any move higher up here right now, we are considering as a retracement. I'm definitely looking at a retracement phase because this was the main move. This was the impulsive large move on pound Swiss. So retracement, this would be obviously a minor retracement, and then this would be a much deeper one. And again, any reversal of this area to the downside would be a very, very sweet and juicy risk to reward move. If that happens, of course, we never know. Just have to wait and see. Okay, that's the pound Swiss for you. Because it's very, very weak, it's really reluctant to go any higher. We're having these very minor retracements. You can see there's a minor retracement here, a minor one here, and another minor one here, which indicates the higher probability that we won't see very deep retracement. We would have to be breaking multiple highs, 1, 2, 3 of these to go higher. So there is going to be resistance along the way. Yeah, as I say, one here, I can support. Let me just put an alarm here, just in case we do reach that. So I'm going to watch out for that. And then this downside would be target. All right, so that's the pound Swiss. Again, another pound pair, watching out for the pound news. And yet again, another pound pair that I'm going to look at this week is pound CAD. So this is a new one. And let's have a look why I picked this one up for this week. So the reason is because we have here, as you can see, a lower high, and then it looks like we may be reaching a lower low. The price action indicates going by this swing. We can see this candle wasn't very strong, and then last week ended up extremely bearish. Big bearish move there. So I am looking at this low to be taken. If I have a quick look at the daily, we can see this level here. And we can see this move from this low. If I take this low to this high, we haven't even reached the halfway mark and the 61.8. So this would be the first target. And then I'll look at the 61.8 as the second target in terms of coming further to the downside. So that's what it looks like on the weekly. So I'll be looking at further downside momentum to continue on last week's. Now this would be going against the current trend on the weekly, because we have this very impulsive move, higher highs formed, and we have not broken this low yet. So we're still in an overall monthly picture uptrend. However, we could be in this retracement phase, and because of the current recent week candles, I'm going to still watch out for a sell move. So this will be a sell, at least in the short term. Not looking for a very long term move. We have just about missed this low down here, so because of that I'm looking for that to be taken out. No sign of a reversal here. We're just getting, if you can see on the 4-hour, lower highs, lower lows, and continuing to the downside. So it looks like we're going to tap into this low. If that is the likely scenario, higher probability, well, what do we want to do? We want to always look for a better price. So I'll take the previous high to the current low, and here you can see is the 50 area, and the 61.8 again will be more favorable to have something like this. And then I can remove the fib, mark this area of reference, and if the market breaks, we get a retracement and we break above this high, then this will invalidate the trade, because we are moving higher, breaking structure, and we're not going lower. The probabilities are then broken, and we go with the flow. So from here, mark it out, retracement, see what happens with the news, and then move to the downside, this being the first. See this level being the first target, and then possibly lower down, but I cannot assume that it would go that low. So definitely a first target would be this one, 1.609, and the 50 level is at 1.6. Let me just mark the price levels just so it's clear. One, and we've got the 50 level here, and we've got 61.8 here, just so you're clear with the price levels. All right, so 1.6 would be a major figure to watch out for, and this is the idea on the pound CAD. Right, that's where we're at. I don't think we've ever looked at pound CAD actually. This might be a first, but there you go. Go with the flow and what the market tells us. That's the pound CAD. Right now, let's look at another CAD pair. In this case, CAD yen weekly. So here we are on the weekly chart. What do we see on CAD yen? Well, we've got that initial move higher. We had the retracement, had that impulsive move. So we're looking at this candle price action to be a possible swing, at least in the short term, at least where we are right now after this retracement. And now we can see is we're having this sort of a reversal phase. We have 3 weeks of bullish price action, and last week closed bullish compared to the week before, and now looking for that continuation. If I go down to the daily just to get a bit more detail, what I can see is we are here, we ranged, then we made this bullish engulfing pattern, engulfing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candles, 9 previous days. That is quite a rarity to see that. So we have the next level higher, which is up here. If you look at this zone where these candles, wicks and bodies are ranging at, and then possibly after that would be this one up here. So with this bullish idea, breaking highs, creating higher highs now, let's have a look on the 4-hour, and here we are on the 4-hour, and we had this initial very impulsive move. I'll just mark some zone of interest here, and what I'll be looking for is a nice cheaper price. some kind of reversal, some kind of price action, and then continue to the upside, where this would be the first point I'll be interested in, and this will be the second one. So the high probability scenario is a much cheaper price. If we don't get a reversal of this area, then this will be the next area I'm looking for. What I can also see is a break of this trend line. We pushed higher and then made another attempt, and then finally broke higher with some conviction. So we are, if you look at the weekly, on still a downtrend, because we are heading into weakness. We've not got any consistent, on the monthly, consistent looking reversal phase. However, we have slowed down and now continuing with the bullish weeks. So let's see what happens, at least in the short term. This is what we can see for now. So we'll just go with that. This may not be a big move. It depends on how it breaks this high and this high up here. Definitely want to see a break of this high in order to continue the bullishness and the much higher time frame overall direction, if we get a break of this high. All right, so this week, for now, I am leading towards the bias of buying bullish on CAD yen. Okay, what is the next one? Let's go to NAS 100, or the NASDAQ as it's called, and have a look at what we did following on from last week. So last week I was looking at this area to be reversed off of, and what happened? Well, as you can see, no reversal at all. Market ripped higher. Just went higher. So this is why we have to be flexible. This is why we just have to let the market do its thing. It didn't go lower, it just ripped higher, went right through our zone. So then we can ignore this zone for now. And what I was saying is that if we go above here, we are invalidating the trade. So it's quite clear the trade is invalidated. Here's that high, and here we have just tapped into it. So now I have to reassess the whole thing and really look at it. What do we do now? Well, this is not clear at the moment where we're at. Are we still in the downtrend? Because overall you can see on the higher picture we are going lower, lower, lower. However, on the weekly we're still very, very bullish. The confusion is because we've got a mismatch between the two. In the weekly we have a break of this high and this high, so it looks like we're very bullish. There's no reversal at all. But on the monthly we are going down. So the next place that I'll be looking for in terms of possible reversal, because I still prefer to go in line with the higher time frame at this stage and look for a bearish move on the monthly. This will be the monthly high, and on the weekly, because we're still bullish, I would like to see this extreme high as a possible reference point. Now we haven't got there yet, and we're still bullish on the weekly. If I look on the daily chart, clearly higher highs and higher lows on the daily as well. So the bullishness on the daily continues and the weekly, and with that, this being the next level of reference, we have this next high to be broken. If you can see this poking out here, that will be the next reference point. So as ever, if you've been with me for a while, I like to see big move away gaps in price. So here's that gap, a move down into this level, and a pull away. Continue on the bullishness. Any reversal price action on this area would be interesting. If I mark the, let's do a fib, the obvious low to the obvious high, here's that 50 point, and now we have the cheaper area here, 61.8. So a reversal around this area would be of interest to me going into this zone. Here we've got that high here, if you can see, which is about there. That would be the point of interest. And once it gets there, I'll be removing everything off the trade, because then we may have the market wanting to do something else. But this will be the initial move I'm looking at, still continuing on the bullishness, the obvious bullishness on Nasdaq here. If I don't get a cheaper price, I will not be interested, because the probability would not be in our favor. All right, so that is the idea here on NAS 100. This price point, if you just want me to mark it out, maybe it's easier if I do that. Is that price point? Is that high? That would be, this high would be the next point to watch for, because we made that high. So breaking that high, and then let's see where we go from here, how much higher we do go, if we do reach into the level or not. But the first point would be this high. Just go to the 4 hour. I'll mark for you the area where I'm no longer interested in, which would be here. So if we price breaks below here, then that will be a break of a structure. And because this is where we moved away from sharply last week, I think this was FOMC. If we go back down below, then I will have to reassess the entire scenario. Okay, finally, as ever, Ethereum, crypto, always looking at that. And I think it's obvious to see where we're at and the situation. We had close bullish, market went higher. We are expecting higher prices. But as you can see from last week, this was the range I was looking at. And I was waiting to see whether the market would break much higher with conviction beyond this point and then give us a retracement. However, what happened is, there's a little subtlety here, is that we did break higher. However, we did not close higher, as you can see, and we just poked above it and just reversed. And then what that means is we are still not in the continued bullish scenario. We're still counting this as a range. As you can see, we actually wicked above and then closed back down below and into the range. What does that mean? That means we're still in uncertain situation, still not quite clear, and there's still the possibility to come back down lower, which is the scenario I preferred, to get a lower price. This is what I drew out here, a lower price, and then the continued move higher. Or possibly, obviously, never know what's going to happen, so still going to stick with the possibility of this scenario. Breaking higher, it really needs to close on the daily higher. Breaking higher, pulling back to a better price on this level. And then continuing higher. So the area, once again, that I'd be interested is down here. And then if we break higher, then this area or this zone, just mark it off here. This would be the upside, and this would be to the top side. I mean, if it breaks higher, and this would be if it breaks lower below these lows down here. Okay. So that's the idea on Ethereum. Currently bullish, where you can see breaking structure here, we just poked above. So I'll be looking for that continuation to the downside, especially with the weakness in overall weakness in the dollar, but we may be some time away. This is quite a lot of points. We may not reach there, so let's see what happens, how the week develops. May want to wait for next week. So in order to get into that bullish frame of mind, that bullish scenario, then we need a much better, cheaper price. As ever, don't want to be buying at an expensive area, don't want to be selling at a cheap price. It's not a higher probability. Okay, that is it for this week. As ever, thank you very much. I hope these charts help you. I hope that gives you a bit of clarity at analyzing the markets and how the markets are looking at the moment. My name is Dima. Thank you for watching and have a great trading week. Do watch out for those news, especially on the pound. We've got 3 pound news and we do have a few pound charts here. So pick yours carefully, see which price action is clearer and matches with the news. You may also want to wait to the day after the news just to get a bit more clarity and then make use of the move. Remember, number 1 rule is to manage your risk. So always do that. Always be managing your risk and protecting your account. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thank you for watching. Have a good trading week. See you on the next one. All right. Bye for now.